Hey, this is Paige. It's April 21st, 2012. It's a Saturday night. I've been out. I went out twice this weekend with a girl named Rachel. She's a lawyer like I am. And last night we went out to dinner and then went to Club Eden, which is a lesbian bar, and then tonight I met her at the Black Crown, and it's been nice getting to know her. She's very transgendered, and we have a lot in common, so it's very nice to get to know a new friend. The reason I'm making this video tonight is that my memory's been taking me back to the first time I got dressed, when a woman named Rachel made me up for the first time ever with a wig on my face, and then turned me around to the mirror, and I saw the girl. And so I've been thinking about Rachel a lot. I haven't seen her for a couple years now, and it made me think about the other women who have been sort of mentors for me in my becoming a woman. And so I thought I might talk about that, if only for myself. There are three women. Two of them are girls like myself, or more or less like myself. They're all a little different. And the third is the woman named Barb, who I talked about before, who is a genetic woman who I dated for over a year in D.C. So let me just start off. When I separated from my then wife and decided to see if there was a girl inside, I contacted a person named Rachel online who had a profile that identified her as a cross-dresser slash transvestite, something like that. I don't remember what it said. She was an older woman. She was in her 60s. And I first met Rachel as her male self. We had lunch together and just talked about things. And then a week or 10 days or 2 weeks later, I forget the exact date, I went to Rachel's house. And as I said, I've said in my Awakening memo video, she made me up without me looking in the mirror, and then turned me around to the mirror, and I saw the girl who looked like her cousins. And it was a magical moment. Rachel was very special. She took me under her wing, if you will. She's the one who, the first wig she put on me was a blonde wig, and it's sort of like the baby bird identifying with the mother. I identified since that time with blonde wigs. I tried darker wigs. Rachel had lots of wigs, and I tried all of them. And but the blonde always seemed to be right for me. So she's responsible for that. And she's also responsible for me acquainting me with the place called Freddie's Beach Bar in Arlington, Virginia, which became not only my favorite place to go out, but also became the focus of the group that I helped found called Classy DC Sisters, which was for girls who wanted to be out in public. Rachel took me out there. Rachel began dressing in the 70s, I believe, and she told me that she worked in several gay bars downtown, dressed as a transvestite, and her job was to keep the gentlemen drinking at the bar. And So Rachel, that's how Rachel dressed. Short skirts, big heels, big hair, big earrings, all of that. And so Rachel decided to take me to Freddie's Beach Bar. Like the third time I dressed, she said, "We're going out." And we drove down and parked 4 blocks away. And I walked hand in hand with Rachel for 4 blocks through a residential area. At about 7:30 on a June night in Washington, D.C. So it was broad daylight, basically. And there were lots of people out on their porch after dinner. And I was trying to hurry it up. And, of course, I wasn't very comfortable with what I was wearing. And Rachel reached out and took my hand and said, "Ladies, stroll." And we proceeded to walk very slowly down those number of blocks in this residential neighborhood with people looking at us. And, of course, I was self-conscious, and Rachel is in heels. She's about 6'4". And she had this short gold lame dress skirt on, and the big hair and the big earrings. And after that, it's been a piece of cake to be out in public for me. I just went through, I had faced the worst I could face the first time. After that, it's been very easy. Rachel taught me a lot. She taught me something which I'm not proud to admit to, which is taping, which is an old cross-dresser trick to tighten your face through the use of tape. And she taught me makeup, and she taught me so much. Unfortunately, I only really had Rachel's mentoring for about 4 months. In October of 2008, I came to Denver for a 2-month period, and just about the time I came to Denver, Rachel got very sick and had to have an operation. And after the operation, she moved with her family to a different state, quite a distance from Washington, D.C. And I have seen her since then. But only for short occasions, a matter of hours, not as much as I want. I consider her my mother in many ways, and I called her and talked to her today, which is really the inspiration for me to put down on tape her importance to me. She opened up to me my heart and my soul, and she was very loving and not real pushy, and she made it fun. And it was, if it wasn't fun, I wouldn't have kept doing it long enough to realize that this is truly who I am. So that's who Rachel was. I talked to her today. I've invited her to come see me in Denver, and I hope she does. The second person who was important to me was a woman named Sheila. Sheila is a rather, again, tall woman with a beautiful face, absolutely beautiful. She looked like Catherine Zeta-Jones in, excuse me, in Chicago. And, but of course she's taller. And Sheila has been extremely transgender her entire life. She's known she was a girl from the get-go. She lives in Boulder, and I met her online that first 2 months I came here, right after I'd started dressing. And I met her for dinner. We met we were supposed to go to Hamburger Mary's, and I stood out front. I had a woman's dress on that really didn't look good on me. It was all the wrong styles for my body type. And Sheila comes along with this low-cut blouse on, and she has just beautiful breasts. I mean, beautiful breasts. And She was very sweet. We sat and talked for about 3 hours, and she did most of the talking, and she critiqued me, if you will, in a very gentle and positive way. About my facial structure not being bad, things of that nature. She talked about what kind of clothes would help me, and I saw Sheila throughout that trip. I was here for at least 2 months that time, and I came back about 2 months later and saw Sheila again. We went out to dinner a number of times. She's the first person who took me to Racine's, which is one of my favorite restaurants today, and I mention that a lot. She also was the first person to take me to a number of other restaurants, Dixon's and things of that nature. We also dined down in Boulder, and she's very special. I've lost track of Sheila. I wish I could find her again. I stayed in touch with her for a couple years, and as I did, she was still as honest with me as she always was. And for example, I have a red dress I like to wear, and she explained that red tends to make you look big. You have to be very petite to really get away with red, and just a lot of good information. She was very, very sweet and very pretty and very encouraging and supportive. My third mentor was perhaps really the most important for the girl I've become today, was Barb. I met Barb at a meet-up group dinner. Of course, I was dressed as a woman, and we sat and talked, and then I was leaving for Denver. Barb was a Washington, D.C. woman. I was leaving for Denver, and over the next 2 months while I was here, we kept in contact by email, and I think I made a couple phone calls. And then when I returned, I started seeing her, and she helped me tremendously. She taught me how to dress down. She was the first person to take me out to a normal non-club event, a family-type event in broad daylight at a Wolf Trap Park farm in Northern Virginia. We went to a Cajun music festival, and she had me so far dressed down that it was, as I said earlier, I didn't even recognize myself. I had a big hat on and glasses and just a scruffy blouse, and I looked like 90% of the women who were there. And it was very liberating to realize that if I dress the way women dress, I'm accepted. The idea not to call attention to yourself. And Barb taught me so much. She taught me about colors. She talked to me about how much makeup to wear at different times. She taught me about scents, and she talked to me about, we were constantly walking around. I was probably a woman when I was with her about 90% of the time, and she took me to some activities which were sort of out there, a couple get-togethers hosted by the Free Love Association and things like that. It was very liberating and enlightening, and she constantly was walking around pointing out things that women were wearing to me, things that I as a man wasn't as attuned to, and she even made me buy a pair of pink flip-flops, which I did buy, and I have one in my apartment, but I've never worn out. But she was so wonderful to me. She gave me some jewelry that she didn't wear. She taught me what types of jewelry to wear when, and all things of that nature. And of course, all three of the women I've discussed were very positive influences on me. They were all very positive about my ability to present as a woman, and I wouldn't be the woman I am today without any one of them. They each of them came into my life when I needed someone who was exactly the way they were. So I'm very grateful that each of them came into my life, and I'm a very lucky girl. I know that. I'm very, very lucky, and I love you all, and I want you to all stay pretty, okay? Bye-bye.